But that's not the primary driver of U.S. sovereign debt. Every dime of U.S. sovereign debt from today through the next 30 years comes from two places. Its healthcare cost is number one, and this slide's already a year out of date. If you factor in the new interest rates, that top line could be as high as $130 trillion of borrowing over the next 30 years. Now, that's not inflation adjusted, but just understand, today, Social Security is number one. Gross interest is now over $1 trillion, so it's number two. Medicare now is number three. Defense is now number four. On the chart here is in 8.5 years, 9 years, Social Security has about a $600 billion shortfall. Even if you do what the left has suggested of raise the caps, a couple other things, in our best, we're working on modeling the math, it's still short. It still does not cover the shortfall. But even if you did what the left suggests of just raise all these taxes, you've now just taken away, functionally, you're now maximizing out your tax rates to, anyone, it's the concepts of the Laffer curve. You've maximized tax rates, you have no more capacity. And once again, healthcare is 3/4 of the borrowing over the next 3 decades. So almost everything people like me will come to this microphone and talk about of changing this in the process, doing a better job of this or that, over the next couple decades, it's a rounding error. And that's really hard and really uncomfortable because the scale of the math is so difficult. A few months ago, the Joint Economic Committee Republicans we decided we would step on the landmine and talk about something we can do. I've tagged it. I'm going to give this to you, ask you to put it in the record, and who knows, maybe you'll have a staffer that will actually look at it. Chapter 3 of the Joint Economic Report talked about obesity in America. Turns out it's a few trillion, and if you add in some of the economic effects, could be 7 trillion over 10 years in savings and economic vitality and second degree, third degree, fourth degree effects. And it's also moral. If you take a look at some of the data right now, we may be about to enter into the 5th year of life expectancy in the United States becoming shorter. There's some data in there that shows one of the most powerful things you could do for income inequality for my tribal populations, rural populations, urban populations, actually is not transfers of money. It turned out it wasn't even education, though education was way up there. It was health. We are financing, and this is where I become a heretic, and I'm sorry it's uncomfortable, we finance through nutrition support programs the way we do them, or the way we do agricultural policy, the way we do these things. You gotta look at the base numbers. We're making ourselves sicker, and it's the driver of the debt. And with that, I yield back.